Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Evan. Happy birthday to you. And for your birthday, I got you this neat little thing. It's a Union Pacific Big Blow.
Ooh.
Sorry, man. It's on rental, actually. You just get to see it, then we got to take it back.
Yes.
What's up, everybody? My name is Timmy D, and that is Mr.
Engineer Evan.
And you are watching the Railroads Rock Show. Let's highball. Happy birthday, dude. You are a Gemini.
I'm now in my mid-30s.
So,
Yes.
Geminis have they have the split personality.
Yes.
So what's one of your personalities if it was a train engine?
It's a war bonnet. It's red and silver. It's set 70
Any
miles an
specific
hour.
engine?
It'd have to be a -9.
I just said that today on I was Timmy talking. I was like just live Instagramming and talking about what my favorite train engine is, and it's a C44-9W in brand new war bonnet.
Oh, yeah.
Like 90s war bonnet.
Yes.
Like no patch, just
Like clean on the Z trains.
freshly shaved.
Yes.
Wait, what? Sorry. What are we talking about?
Birthday.
Birthday.
I don't know what I've been told.
Someone here is getting old.
Good news is dessert is free.
Bad news is we sing off key.
Happy birthday to you.
Anyways, yeah. And what's the other personality?
We'd have to go something completely opposite. It would have to be Conrail, and it would have to be a Conrail 80 Mac. So
like a coal hauler Cadillac.
kind of like down in the mud, getting the work done.
Yeah.
Not going 70 miles an hour on a.
I don't even think 80 Max
Z-train.
ever broke 40 miles an
know,
hour. They
yeah.
always just slowly pulled that coal out of the
Yes.
was the Allegheny Mountain Range.
Yes.
Anyways, so this is our first episode of season 2 of the Railroads Rock Show. Evan's birthday,
Yes.
May 29th.
That's correct.
Obviously, we're shooting this before his birthday, but let's just pretend, okay? And we're kicking off this inaugural season with one of our favorite bits of the Railroads Rock Show. Who wore it better? You ready?
Who wore it better for?
Stop giving them numbers.
Well, because people are going to want to know. They want to watch.
No.
No. All right, go. Just do it.
Let's go. Here we go.
Times on day trois. Come on,
Let's
song.
dance, bro. Happy birthday.
Who want it better? Who for it better?
I should put this up on SoundCloud for people to download.
Shit.
Who want it better?
Yes.
Who for it better? That's right. Who for it better?
Who wore it?
Who wore it? Who for it better? Who knows who for it better?
It's okay.
I know.
Who for it better?
On day trois.
Better. So here we go, dude. This is a Jeep 35 roundup for who wore it better.
Oh.
Let's rock.
Okay. SP. Yes. That looks
All the way,
good.
right?
Of course. Yes.
Which I find very intriguing because we have the UP blower in front of us, which
Yeah.
we're going to talk about in a little bit. But I have to agree with you. Bloody nose all the way. Punched in the face.
Yeah. This is such an ugly UP paint scheme. They were getting, all paint schemes lead to the good one, but this is the in between one that doesn't look good.
I never was a fan of UP after they got rid of the wings, like the vintage UP with the wings, the
Yeah.
green anti-glare.
This is just the classic 70s thing. Yeah.
SP. All right, how about this? Canadian.
It's a dark era in Canadian paint schemes.
That's why it's up there, dude.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you like, the crappy or the crappy?
I'm going to go CP with CP Rail. This is that weird phase in Canadian Pacific where they were CP Rail, CP Air, CP Shipping, different conglomerates. The
I call it
CN
the Pac-Man scheme.
Yeah.
Because it always looked like a Pac-Man.
Right, yeah.
To be humbly, my opinion is the CN, Canadian National. There's a reason for that. The first N-scale unit that I owned when I was a young blood, because I was doing HO scale, and then my brother and I, because he loved N-scale stuff, we're like, let's combine our layouts and do which was stupid. let's do just a big N scale out. And so I bought an SD40-2 in that paint scheme right there. And it was a Bachmann Plus or a Spectrum. So, like, if you ever look at the 1990s Bachmann Spectrum SD40-2 compared to a Kato, like, just put the two next to each other, smash cut. The Bachmann Spectrums were like, because the mechanism was so bulky, it was actually like a bigger unit. It wasn't to scale. It just looked terrible, you know, as opposed to the follow-up unit. I got a Delaware and Hudson SD45, a Kato, whatever you want to call it, unit, an N scale, and it was just so cool. It ran so smooth. It was like butter. You just turn that. This is N scale of the 90s, where it's like, oh my god,
Kato, they game changer with those motors.
They were
really
leaps and bounds
so
ahead.
Quiet too.
The LED that just lit up as soon as the unit started moving, even though it was yellow.
Those are like the Toyotas of HO.
Oh, yeah.
HO and N scale of the 90s
Yeah.
into the 2000s. Yeah,
Yeah.
'Cause no one had ever touched anything.
Yeah.
Like LEDs and quiet motors and reliability.
Yeah, they paid attention to things that people like other modelers didn't. You know, like even in the Athearn Blue Box, people are all like, "Oh, it kind of sounds like an engine going down the railroad because the motor's so loud." It's like,
funny,
yeah,
I just liquidated 3 of the 4 of my Kato -9s.
God, those things were so quiet.
I know.
Remember
They
Dick
still
Parsons?
are.
Do you remember
Still are.
Dick Parsons?
Yeah.
He had those -9s, and they were so quiet that you could hear if you had a squeaky wheel on the unit.
I feel bad for getting rid of them, but you know,
One of those
whatever.
-9s that he had, I remember, like, you could hear it coming down the hill because it had a squeaky wheel, and it was like, yeet, yeet, yeet.
Yeah, yeah.
Because the motors were so quiet. It's like, whoa. All right, so I'm going Canadian National. You going CP?
I'm going CP. Yep.
All right. Let's keep on moving here. We got a couple seconds on the screen. Let's just take that in. Oh, I know what Evan's going to say.
Man, I like the Erie Lackawanna a lot.
What?
I do. No.
What?
So Big Blue looks great on a lot of locomotives, but some of them don't look good, and I don't know if I like it on this.
All right, let's talk some shop about this. So, first of all, I don't agree with you, Big Blue looking good on certain engines. There are certain engines that I like because they're Big Blue. Remember, Conrail had a lot of these very unique units, like C38-7s, where it looked, you could see it had that square cab. You know, it was 4 axle, so it was like the precursor to the B40-8 or B39, -8. And I always thought those looked so cool in Conrail Blue because they were very unique to Conrail.
Right.
Then again, there were certain units in Conrail Blue that I was just like, ugh.
Dude, honestly, like
The only reason I liked it was because they were, like, Conrail was just all blue.
If
There was no awkward paint scheme.
if you had stacked that up against the last 2 we just did, I'd put it to Conrail all day. But like the Erie Lackawanna paint scheme was really good on this one.
Yeah, I love it. What is that, crimson, or is that maroon? Maroon with gold,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think
that
maroon,
gray
yeah.
base to it. It's a very unique paint
Erie
scheme.
Lackawanna is a very interesting railroad as a whole.
Yeah.
So to see it, painted like that, yeah, it looks good.
East Coast railroading in general is so. I mean, it might as well be Chinese railroading and European railroading.
Well, what's sad about
to East Coast United States to West Coast as
So
far
it's-
as how they operate.
It's funny that you put these two together. Conrail obviously came out of Penn Central and all these other railroads.
Yeah.
A lot of this New York Central and Pennsylvania railroads, were intact and stayed together. A lot of the Erie Lackawanna stuff, once they went out of business, they've just abandoned it. And when I go to visit my buddy who lives in Cleveland, we go to this one spot. There's like a really cool park, and we're right next to an old Pennsylvania main line. And here we're walking all over the Erie Lackawanna line, that a double track main line, Chicago to New York, just totally abandoned. It was just it's just kind of like the Milwaukee Road. That's what happened.
Just disappeared.
Yeah.
And I love Milwaukee Road.
Right.
It was such a basic, that orange and black paint scheme.
It's
Much
just-
like BNSF now. It's like, it's orange and black. That's weird. It's
It's like all over the country now.
yeah. But Milwaukee Road, there's a great YouTube video. I'm going to find it. I'll try and put a link to it. Don't hold your breath. But this guy who was a young engineer on the Milwaukee Road took a bunch of pictures of him running the electrics over the mountain grades.
Nice.
and they still used stuff from like the early 1900s.
Of course.
Like up until when did it disband? But we're talking like late 60s, and they're running stuff from like 1920. Like
So-
those boxy-looking electric
so like the
locomotives
little-
that were quiet as shit, too.
I want to say the Little Joes were designed for the Soviet Union, and then when things got sour, they're like, no, these aren't going over there. They're going to stay here. That's why they have the weird things about them. No
They're just
quote me
big
on that,
boxes.
but yeah, they're
There's-
really cool. No, they're really cool.
I think the personality that comes from them is the fact that they can haul more than a DD40AX. This little box. This little heavy just...
The Milwaukee Road might be the most fascinating railroad that ever failed in America.
Yeah.
Because they were so progressive at the time.
Very forward-thinking.
You know, there's like the Milwaukee Road in the Midwest, and then there's their western extensions.
Yeah.
And that's what went all through Montana. And,
Yeah, you had all the catenary lines up there.
right, all the way up into, Oregon and Washington.
That should have actually succeeded if you think about it, because all the hydropower plants that they were coming online at the time, so you're getting not free power, but it was very cheap at the time to produce hydropower, because the environmentalists hadn't come in and overtaken and been like, you're destroying trout.
Yes,
trout.
not yet. Salmon.
Yeah.
The salmon is a big deal.
Salmon. You know what I mean. The salmon can't swim upstream.
The snake in Columbia River is a big deal up there.
Yeah, it is a big deal.
Yeah.
And it's crazy how much power those plants produced. And for Milwaukee Road to be like, look, we're getting all this free power off of these water sources. Let's tap into it. It wasn't free, but you know what? You get the point.
Yeah.
At the time, there was a lot of, I don't know. Whatever. Continue. So I would have to say, though, okay, you know what? Let's get back to the Big Blue thing, though. Okay, some locomotives that I didn't like, or it's not that I didn't like, it's just you would see, okay, locomotives I do like in Big Blue. The U-boats, the U-30s, they just looked so... They look like farm animals. I can't explain it. Like, U-boats really look like pigs to me.
Yeah.
Like, they had that short nose, and they just looked unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like, quietly could do some damage. Like any pig.
Mm-hmm.
You know, pigs just lay in the mud all day, but if you piss one off, it'll kill you.
Right.
It'll eat you alive.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, the Erie Railroad. I'm going to go with you on that one, man. I really, there's something about that. Yeah, U-boats, and I really love SD40-2s.
Right.
In
Right.
in the Big Blue. It was just blue. That's it. With the black trucks, obviously. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
Orange and yellow and black, or just orange and silver and black?
I'm going to go WP all day on this one. And what's really cool about that locomotive, notice that headlight. That's a single beam headlight.
Isn't that nuts?
That's something of the steam era, dude. And
That's really cool.
And what's really cool is, speaking of like cool, the Utah Railroad Museum just took a donation and had, I don't know if it was UP or somebody else, but they just repainted one of those for their museum. That doesn't run, but it looks cool, you know. And you better pause
so it's
it
like a
later.
Campo engine.
It's like a Campo engine, yeah.
All right. Hang on. Let me talk a little bit
Yeah.
about Genesee. For me, I'm going Genesee in Wyoming. Not to be the antithesis to you, but for me, Western Pacific, the only locomotive that I truly liked in the orange and silver was the F units.
Yeah, if you understand.
I really like that, and the Jeep 35s always felt it would have been cool to see them. I don't know. It's almost like I'm looking at a hybrid of something paint scheme that didn't really do anything for me.
Well, that was funny. You speak about paint schemes that didn't look well on other locomotives. WP painted one of their F7s in the Jeep 40 paint scheme with the green and the orange, and that looked like garbage. Like, why is this on an F unit? But you're like, oh, cool, it's kind of on an F unit, you know? Anything on an F unit is pretty cool.
Well, that's because F unit is the. I think that unit is. We need to do an episode on strictly.
F units.
I mean, not only the F unit, but the how it's shaped.
Well,
Like not only railroading, but in model railroading. How many times you have people from anybody that was born in the 80s and 90s, they had a train set, their first starter set,
An F unit.
90% of them were an F unit.
Well,
and out of that, 70% of those were
Santa
a
Fe,
war bonnet.
Santa Fe, yeah.
You know?
So I think you got to think of the F unit was like the Model T.
Don't quote me on those percentages.
Yeah. The F unit was like the Model T of railroading.
Mm-hmm.
And once one of the big time mass produced locomotive, the deviations between each railroad isn't that significant like a steam engine would be. And what's cool is like everyone like loves a covered wagon, which is what slang.
You can't
for it.
hate.
And it's just everything about it's really
And they went
cool.
everywhere. Like even Australia had F7s.
Yeah.
They were like double-ended F7s.
Yeah.
They had a cab on either side.
That was a very English. Like the English are the ones who
Very English.
Yeah, they didn't want to. They didn't want to get off their engines. You walk through the engine to the other side.
Well, the weather down there, down under, is
Right.
quite intrepid, as well as the weather up in England. It's like it's hard to actually fathom when you think about England. Their southernmost spot, I believe, is still higher. Is it higher in latitude than the highest spot in Maine?
Maine, yeah.
So that means that if you've ever been to Maine, I mean, the weather up there is not exactly.
Yeah, it's like Memorial Day through Labor Day is the warm time, and the rest is cold or
freezing.
Freezing. Yeah.
And the only thing that keeps you warm is the fact that the whole place is an island. It's near the ocean, so the water is cold, but it definitely keeps a lot of cloud cover, which keeps in humidity, blah, blah, blah. You could talk about that another time. But, we need to do an episode on F7s. I like the Genesee in Wyoming because that paint scheme looks terrible on everything.
Right.
There's not one locomotive I've seen with Genesee in Wyoming that, like, it wears it and you're like, that looks really good. And they paint them all the same. But there is a lovability to the underdog. And I was saying this today also when I was doing a Timmy Talks, was I like railroads that have the underdog feel. And Genesee and Wyoming, they are everywhere now, but they're the underdog. Nobody really knows them. And something about that paint scheme says underdog to me. And so even though you go like, I would say, oh, yeah, of course Western Pacific wore it better. But then when you look behind, hold for siren.
He's gone.
Anyways, when you look behind the ethos and the personality of the paint scheme, that's when that's where I'm coming from on this. Otherwise, I'd get your back with the Western Pacific. But Genesee and Wyoming is my vote for this. Plus, there's something about just the one single part of the unit that is painted white.
Is the air conditioner.
Is the air conditioner and the over the roof of the cab.
Yeah.
Which makes sense. It reflects heat.
Yeah.
So you don't want to get the engine too hot. So there we go.
Yeah.
All right. So we're going to be moving on here, but we're going to pause for a quick station identification. You're watching Railroads Rock Show, and you could follow me on Instagram at Captain. No.
Railroads and Rock.
Yeah, Railroads and Rock and Roll. That's my other Instagram. Yeah. That's the one where I rock, mate. And then you can follow Engineer Evan at
Michigan Subdivision.
That is correct, Mr. Michigan Subdivision. People care.
They do, yes.
All right, so here is our break from the norm.
Oh,
we
cool.
have a fantasy scheme with a real scheme, and this is an F-59. Hang on, what the hell just happened? What did I just do? F-59 with an F-59. One is in Pan Am Railways, and the other one is the OG Amtrak California paint scheme. What are you doing, Evan? What do you want?
Well, if you hadn't picked an engine that I ran over a bunch of people with, I would pick the 2009. But I'm going to go with the Pan Am engine on this one.
Why you got to get morbid?
You picked the one engine I killed people with, so I'm going to have to go with the Pan Am engine, unfortunately.
Ladies and gentlemen, disclaimer, Evan didn't kill people on purpose.
They just got in my way. Yeah.
Was that the exact engine?
2009.
You ran over people in 2009?
Yep.
Okay, you know what? Hang on. I have to... This is really weird. First of all, I have to apologize because I had no idea that was the engine number.
That's the engine number, bro.
That was the exact engine.
That's why I leaned in. I'm like, there's no way that's the engine. That's the engine. 2009, yeah. That's exactly it.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I'm really sorry.
That's good, bro.
That's so
good.
nuts.
Yeah.
Should I cut this?
No.
Keep it on the...
Don't. No. If anything, I would say that look both ways, listen for bells and whistles every time you cross a railroad, grade crossing.
And on top of that
and that person didn't do that. And them and the three other individuals who were in that car are no longer here because of that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's what's up.
That's what's up. Look both ways and listen for bells and whistles. That's all I can tell you.
All right, fair's a pair. Sorry to get dismal. I'm sorry, man. I seriously just wanted to pick an Amtrak California locomotive to juxtapose a fake a fake paint scheme.
Now, let's step away from the morbid and come back to the paint schemes here. This is the 3 arrows going one way and the 1 arrow, the 3 steps forward.
I'm so upset.
Back. No, don't be.
I'm so upset.
Don't be, bro.
It's an obvious, honest mistake, but I mean, at the same time, it's like I'm upset because I'm just like,
it's okay, man.
What are the odds that out of the 4 pictures I was looking at, that was the one I picked?
I mean, I could shell off.
We're living in the Matrix.
I could shell off 10 other numbers that I've had incidents with too, but
in that paint scheme.
No, that's the older Amtrak California paint scheme.
Was it painted like that when you were in it?
No.
Okay, I don't feel.
It's in the C. It's in the new Caltrans one.
Thank you. Well, that's not much different.
I know.
It's got that stupid CT.
It just says Caltrans on the front instead of the three steps back.
I like this. I like this paint scheme.
Yeah.
This paint scheme. Now, now I'm gonna get morbid.
Oh, come on, man.
I'm not gonna get morbid. I'm not getting more. Okay, I am gonna talk a little bit about death.
Brother,
no, but that is really weird because the last time, or the time I can remember, and the last time I rode on that engine or that paint scheme, a train in that paint scheme, my mom decided to take our family for a family trip up to Santa Barbara on the Surfliner, and it was my Naj Mama's birthday, and that was her last birthday, and that's just really weird. So it's like that's kind of a weird attachment to that paint scheme too. It's death and death.
Yeah.
Because then she passed away a couple months later, and it was but that's just so nuts. As far as I can remember, I don't have all the exact details in my mind, but I just remember us getting on the train that morning and me walking. My mom's like, "Do you want to walk to the front so you could see the engine before we get on?" I was like, "Yeah." So it went all the way to the front of the platform at San Diego Depot and looked at the train engine, and she took a picture on a little wind-up camera for me, which that picture's got to exist somewhere in front of it, But I will never forget looking up at that train engine and being almost like, I was in awe, like, whoa. Because you also got to remember, and this is attached to my Naj Mama, Hungarian word for grandma, where she used to take the Amtrak train down almost every other weekend from the time I can't even remember how old, to up until I was 13 years old, and tube cars. It was the tube cars at the time.
Amphiletes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Amphilete. Yeah.
And I miss those cars. You know who did an amazing version of that?
Walters, right? Was it Walters?
Yeah, but I mean, fucking Vic Yoder.
He was running them yesterday.
Dude.
He was running. Dude, I was like, I like this train a lot.
Dude.
Actually, it looks really good.
And he had the weirdest look on his face when he was running them around me, and I was like foaming like a freaking geek. Right. And I was like, dude, this is amazing. And he was just like, yeah, they are kind of amazing. Thank you. And he's like, I had a guy offer me $9 million for it, or whatever the guy offered him. Yeah. And I was just like, and I think he was looking at me like, no way is this guy freaking out like this. But then I proceeded to tell him, I'm like, my Naj Mama used to ride these tube cars, the Amfleet cars, back and forth from L.A. to whatchamacallit. What are you looking at?
Stop filming.
Oh, no.
And
the thing.
Machine, yeah.
Okay, so the Death Machine and Pan Am. There, you happy? There we go.
Yes,
Anyways,
yes.
But we were talking about modeling down there with Vic with his Amfleets.
Yes.
Dude, he's the stuff that I really find it intriguing how, and yeah, I'm talking about you, Vic. You're welcome. His shit's amazing. Mm-hmm. Like anything I've ever seen him run on that railroad, I am beside myself. Wait. 1, 2, 3, and I'm serious about that. Like his Amfleet stuff is it's same with Ryan. Like all the stuff that Ryan puts on the railroad, I'm like, you treasure Ryan. I'm like, what?
Never seen it,
bro. His stuff is. It's almost like Tom Grice. You know Tom Grice's shit. He's like a Picasso when it comes to.
Oh, of course. Of course.
That's Ryan's skill level. It's amazing, and it frustrates me because I'm like, bro, I want to talk to you more about this, but. You're always either with Vic, it's like I don't really know you, and you always have like a RBF going on, so I don't know what to. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, bro, why you got to roll with that face on?
Yes.
What face?
It's. I'll put it to you this way: he's not very approachable if you don't know.
I don't give a shit.
You got to have something to talk about with him. If you don't have something to talk about, he won't want to talk to you. Does that make sense? So we have the railroad thing.
That
in
makes
common.
that makes plenty of sense. You don't have to. I don't.
Like, he's
yeah.
not a small talk guy. If you have something to say, he wants to hear it. If he's interested, he wants to talk to you about it.
Yeah.
But if you're just like, hey man, the weather's really nice, he's like, fuck you.
Yeah. Well, that's not the kind. I'm not. Like small talk with me is a minute exchange, and then I move on. Like I'm not that kind of guy to like engage in a conversation over like, so how's the weather? It's like, well, be blah 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 blah. Okay, later. Like I'll say a couple things, I'll move. As some people will just be like, yeah, the weather's fine, But I'll still be nice about that conversation, as opposed to, like with Vic's stuff. Like I was foaming. Like there had to have been a puddle underneath my feet when those tube cars were coming up the hill. You know those things like the strobes actually strobe.
I watched them. No.
Oh my gosh.
Vic is what I would call a 100% modeler, and we don't have very many of those at the club. Which is a guy, he doesn't bring anything down that's not 100% completed. It's not done. You know what I mean? It's so like Tom Grice, 100%. Would never be caught dead without an engine looking great, right?
Yeah.
You and me, we're always a work in progress. We're running engines. We're going to weather them. We're going to fix them. We're going to detail them. But we just want to run them because we want to enjoy them.
They call it a whip, a
Right.
work in progress.
Yes. Now I'm
somewhere on the latter side of that. Like any stuff that I do run, I try and have it kind of close. But yes, I know what you mean. It's there's a vision there.
I mean, my vision is like, I want you to see that my whole fleet will all look the same, beautiful, weather detailed someday. But I want to have fun with what I have right now.
Yeah, enjoy the hobby. That's
And
why
it's
we
like,
do it.
If I can't bring it because it's not done, and we have talked extensively about free time, and where does this hobby line up in free time?
Oh yeah,
And it's very difficult. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You might get an hour and a half with your trains every night, and that's really good. For me, man, sometimes I come home and I don't want to pick up a screwdriver.
what the fuck
I
are you
wanna do
talking
shit.
about?
Yeah.
The only reason, no, I don't get an hour and a half with my trains every night.
I'm
I get a
just-
half hour if I'm lucky.
Right, but you get what I'm saying. Like,
The only,
it's like
I will say, first of all, I get what you're saying. Second of all, since I moved into this place, I've actually had more time to work on these trains because they could stay out down here in the garage.
Right.
As at my old place, it was,
yeah.
I was recording everything. Like everything had to exist in that office. Did you ever see my old place?
I did.
Okay, and remember, everything kind of had to exist in that office.
Yeah.
Luckily, I had that track around the ceiling.
Right.
And that was kind of my zen because that's the one thing I miss is having a train on those tracks and just letting it run.
Yeah.
It was like one of my favorite things. That's why, like I was talking about this the other day with I don't even know who, but switching layouts. I love switching layouts, but they're very engaging. You have to have time to switch. It's more of an entertainment factor as opposed to a zen factor.
I remember my downtime from La Mesa, which was a long time, and it took me a long time to get to this point of view, which I'm about to share with you, that you could put a train in an oval, and if it was a couple engines I liked, a couple of cars, just going around, I was entertained.
Yep.
It took a long time to get to that point because, La Mesa really builds you up like we're prototype modeling, it's switching, it's main line, it's all this. Screw the oval shit, and then like you want to come down to a smaller point of view.
Yeah.
Here we are, you're sipping on some whiskey, maybe you're watching a movie, you got a train in a circle. It feels back to basics.
That's what I loved about
Yeah.
the office at
Right,
the old
and
place.
so
let the train go around the
Dude,
track.
it's-
I had that TV in the corner, so I was watching a movie, train going around the track, and I was writing down lyrics to songs and just let my brain fucking.
Yeah.
That's the one thing
Yeah.
I'd like to get back to.
I remember that layout. That was so cool.
That was cool. Remember, there was like
About
point.
the size of this room, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That also was about the size of the
Well,
room.
it was
Little smaller, little
this
smaller.
garage is twice that size, but it doesn't feel like it because there's the shelving on both sides,
Right.
And that room was a little bit taller too. This is only an 8'2" ceiling, I think. That other or no, maybe this is, I don't know, maybe. But I will say that this garage is twice the size of that room. That room was 10 feet by 12 feet. And this garage, I believe, is 15 by 18. I think it's 18 feet wide by 15 feet deep.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's bigger. Maybe it's 18 by 18. I don't know. We'll have to measure it out. Let's get back to it. So now talking about the death cab for cutie, I'm saying Pan Am with you.
Yeah.
First of all, we were talking about the Pan Am show. I'm not even going to get into it, but next one, Burlington Northern Unit. and Santa Fe unit, now repainted in 2 different schemes. Which one are you going after, son?
The pumpkin, please.
I love the pumpkin.
The pumpkin, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
That still looks like a BN engine. They both look like BN locomotives, actually. The high headlights. There you go.
The only difference, this is a high headlight one. No, Santa Fe had a couple of high headlight ones. Very few, but that's the style.
That's sweet, man.
Thanks, man. That actually was one of the first Jeep 35 ready to roll units after Athearn bought, what was it, Roundhouse?
Yeah. Horizon. Yes, Horizon, yeah.
Anyways.
Ooh, there we go.
So wait, we're on the same page with that last one?
Yes, here we are.
Okay. Yeah, so pumpkin all the way. And yeah, dude, this is one of my favorite units, actually. This is like my little, will you grab one of those brushes and kind of hit this really quick?
Yes.
The only thing I'm bummed about is the Sinclair antenna it got broken off the other day. And I was just like, ugh. But here's a quick tip, ladies and gentlemen. If you got a paintbrush, a nice horsehair paintbrush, make sure it's nice and soft horsehair paintbrush. This is your winner. This is how you can dust off some logo. You don't have to do the sides, just the top, dog. Just the top, dog. Yeah, well, last time you did that, you broke a windshield wiper off of one of my...
Fine, you win.
This is like that unit, though, because it's got the yellow air conditioner.
That's cool. That's cool.
As opposed to, dude, this came like this right out of the box. I bought this from that hobby store in Burbank.
Yeah. Oh, the train shack?
Yeah.
Train shack, yeah.
That I used to live down the street from that.
What?
Over in North Hollywood,
They
yeah.
always had a nice selection of locomotives.
It was right next to this Chicago pizza joint that Jay Leno always showed up to, and he'd be like
Dude.
driving his Stanley steamer.
Dude.
And I was a quarter mile from that, so I would just
trains and Chicago pizza, and
I
the
would
main
ri-
line's right down the street from there too.
Yep. And also, if you went up the bus line that was there, used to be the old SP line that went all the way down to the Budweiser factory, which was Busch Gardens.
Wow.
Fun fact, Busch Gardens, they used to have a freaking amusement park
Right
in the valley
They have
with a
that-
monorail.
So they have that in St. Louis, actually. Busch Gardens in St. Louis has you can go. There's animals. There's fun shit to do. There's a beer garden.
Yeah,
No
it was
pun
the same
intended.
thing in the valley. There's still that same trestle bridge that goes over the main line, the UP main line out there now that goes out to Oxnard and all that shit.
Yep.
That bridge is still there. It's like this random bridge. You're like, what is this? Because it's like a burly like walking path with the monorail path with the this and anyways, whatever. They never tore it down. But yeah, I really like these Jeep 35s. There's something about that nostalgia of the pumpkin painted Jeep 35. It just warms my heart. So that one wins. Pumpkin and the black and orange BNSF premium swoosh, whatever. Yeah, take a hike. All right. For me, let's let this play out. You go first.
Well, I got to do the Santa Fe one with the nose headlights. Very modern. So it must be sometime in the 90s. So yes, Santa Fe.
I believe that's 1993. Pre-ditch light, but post-rotator beacon.
Yes.
And I'm going with that. It's a beautiful color. That yellow bonnet just, to me, always wins. Whether it's a Jeep 35, SD40-2, FP45, F45, if it's in that yellow bonnet scheme, say hello to sunshine. Okay, here we go. B&O and B&O. Talk to me, Goose.
I like the chassis. I like the patched chassis. Looks really cool. B&O, the other one, just is too flat for me.
Yep.
It looks too dirty like that.
I feel like that's like kind of a reduced Santa Fe freight scheme.
Right.
Like it's not even like it's just like here's the yellow stripe, I guess.
Like someday I'd love to run on somebody's layout that's a big chassis foamer because I think that would be really fun.
Actually, I had this weird thought about that. Is first of all, I saw a video where it was like 10 chassis because it was all Jeeps. So Jeep 40s, Jeep 35s, Jeep 35s, Jeep 30s, Jeep 40s. And it was just all 8-wheel, 4-axle units. And I was like, what would be rad is to just do 3 chassis system locomotives.
Yeah.
Just something very simple.
The only more person
When
I've
did they
seen-
stop being chassis?
1980 something, 82, 83,
When did they go to CSX?
when they merged with Seaboard. So Chessie and Seaboard together.
Became CSX.
Now Chessie System is a merger between B&O and C&O.
Right.
So just so you know, that's the Northern Railroad, and the Southern Railroad was Seaboard.
Yeah.
Which was Seaboard was a merger between ACL and Seaboard Coastline or something like that. So it's Seaboard family. So the two railroads that merged together were railroads that merged 2 times before. That's what made the Super Railroad of the CSX.
Yeah, kind of like the Penn Central. You know,
Right.
the New York Central and the Pennsylvania Railroad also absorbed a couple other railroads when they became the New York Central, or the Conrail. Sorry, when Conrail became...
It was
yeah.
5. There was 5, yes. But
I
technically...
think there was 7, dog.
Well, 7 if you count...
All right, that's
New York
enough of
Central,
that shit.
Penn Central.
So which one are you going with?
Chessie.
Me too. Chessie with the B&O patch. I'll take it every day. Anyways, happy birthday to you.
Un, deux, trois, commençons.
Thank you for watching Railroads Rock Show, and we'll see you soon. Let's let the song play. And damn!
Who want it better? Who for it better? That's right. Who for it better? Who want it? Who want it? Who for it better? Who knows who for it better? I know who for it better. On the top.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the Railroads Rock Show. Once again, my name is Timmy D. You can follow me on Instagram at Railroads and Rock and Roll. Follow my main man, Engineer Evan at... Hang on, sorry, it's playing again. I can't get enough of this fucking song. All right. You can follow Engineer Evan at...
Michigan Subdivision.
And until the next time, just remember to look both ways.
Yes.
Look both ways. Listen for the horn. Listen for the jingle. And anything else you want to say, bruh?
I would say the most important signal is going to be your next one. So, yeah.
No.
No?
Anything else you want to say?
No, I'm good.
I have something else to say.
Say it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Evan. Happy birthday to you.
Oh, man. Thank you.
And just remember, folks, that's your most important signal.
That'll be your next one.
We'll see you guys later.